Quit now while I can. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to today's video. And you know what? After all those Squire, Esquire, this or that videos, it feels good to be back making a normal video. And I thought, you know what? Let's get back with a lesson. And we're going to talk about what I think is one of the biggest guitar lies ever talk about it. Before we get going too much though, this week, technically it starts tomorrow, but I'm going to go ahead and put the links in this video. If you guys want to check out either of my 8-course bundles, which is kind of more intermediate guitar course stuff, or my beginner guitar course, Rock and Roll Bootcamp, I'm actually making them available both for the first time ever at the same time this whole week. So that is technically starting right now, but the announcement video will be tomorrow. So if you've ever been interested in my courses, they're on sale this week, like 50-some% off each one of them. And just check them out if you get a chance. Let's get into the lesson. Tabs are linked down below. Alright, so we are talking about the myth, the lie, that distortion covers up your mistakes, you know? Oh, that guy's only good because he's using a bunch of distortion. I was always told play clean if you want to get, you know, cleaner at your playing, all this kind of stuff. And it wasn't until I got a little bit older, I'm like, I think that's horrible advice. Not that you shouldn't practice, you know, with a clean sound or anything like that, but trust me, you gotta learn how to control distortion. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a bunch of examples of this stuff, and we're just gonna dive on into this. Alright, so here's the first example, right here. Alright, so what I'm doing here is, you know, honestly, tough to keep quiet. I found especially legato. When you're doing a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs and you have a lot of distortion, all those strings start ringing, and you really have to rely on your muting. Left hand and right hand muting is so crucial to this kind of stuff. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm going like this. I'm playing 10 on the D string. Now I'm actually let me turn my delay off. 10 on the D string with my middle finger. Now on the G, I'm going to go 9, hammer on 10, hammer on 12. Now what happens is I'm going to go to 10 on the B then. So essentially there's 3 picked notes out of this passage. Pick, pick, hammer, hammer, pick. Now, of course, I go back and I descend it, so I guess technically there's 4 notes being picked. Now, if you were to play that without distortion, you might, unfortunately get some of this kind of sound, and you might not even know what's happening, because without distortion, it doesn't ring the way it does. So listen. Here you kind of hear those notes bleed into each other. The only way you can get used and learn how to control that anyways is with distortion. You have to have distortion on there to really learn how to, like, oh my god, this thing's like, you know, everything is amplified, like I said before. So when I'm playing this, I'm adding a lot of palm muting, but I'm also trying to be strategic with my left hand. You know, I'm trying to make very controlled movements. You know, my hand's not just flying all over the place. You know, we don't want that. You know, like I said, I'm doing a lot of palm muting, and basically this really adds a lot of dynamics to your playing as well. So I'm going like this. See, I had some noise there, and I need to clean that up. So. So what was happening was my finger was not getting off of that next string fast enough, and that's why I was getting some noise. And again, it's the distortion that's letting me know that I'm not playing it clean. So the next part of this one is one I'm so bad at, but I wanted to include it for that exact purpose because I'm not good at it. It's the same lick, but I go like this. It's 10 on the D, and then 9, 10, 12, and I have to roll my pinky to get 12 on the B string. And then I descend the same as before. So. I really have to work for it because I'm not very good at rolling my fingers. So I'm trying to get better at it. And like I said, you can hear how you have to like really get used to this rocking motion. So when I'm doing this, I rock my finger down, and you have to, I can't really pick my finger up because I need to play both notes with my pinky. So I have to get used to moving my finger like this rocking motion, like it's and it's a challenge. You know, it's a really good challenge. And distortion highlights just how weak I am at this. And I need to keep working on it, but I thought it would be a cool one to throw in here because, like I said, maybe it's someone else who's struggling with it just like me. Alright, next on the old chopping block is this one. Now this is another one that I like a lot because it's using 1 note per string, but if you're not careful, you get the same issue you have with the other one. A lot of the notes will bleed together. And if you were to play this clean, would be really easy to do it clean because you wouldn't hear all these notes ringing together. But with distortion, it's a whole different thing. So it goes like this. Alright, so what exactly is happening here? Well, I mean, if you really want to break it down, they're chords, but I know I'm not so much concerned about what chords I'm playing at this exact moment. Not that you shouldn't be, but this is more like a technique idea. So, like I said, this one note per string is very tricky, and my picking is very particular here with this one. So, essentially, the first part here is I'm going to go 7 on the A string, 5 on the D, and then 7 on the G. Okay? Now, when I pick that, I know I just did all downs just now, but when I pick it normally, I go down, down, up on all of these. Almost like a little sweep, so it's like economy picking. Now that just helps me, and if you notice, I'm using a lot of palm muting, because otherwise, listen to this. Look at all those notes ringing out. Again, even if you roll your volume down, you don't get it as much. Like, you see how I use less distortion? It's almost like a lie. It's lying to me, saying that I'm cleaner than what I am. Then I put the distortion back on. All that noise, I gotta learn how to control it. So I'm playing 7 on the, like I said, 7 on the A, 5 on the D, 7 on the G. Now what happens is I shift up. The pattern is almost like, to me, it's in my mind, it's all the same. But I'm gonna go 9 on the D, 7 on the G, and then 10 on the B. Now I use my middle, pointer, and ring finger for that one. I'm sorry, middle, pointer, and then pinky finger, not ring. So, the next one's all the way up here. I'm just going right through my E minor scale. 12 on the D, 9 on the G, and then 12 on the B. Okay? Picking is the same, down, down, up on all of these. Okay, now we shift up again. You're going to go 14 on the D, this is the final one, 12 on the G, and then 15 on the B. Okay, so there's all of them, and you can just resolve it to that E note. But right away, I hope you could hear, you know, I hope it came through on the recording anyways, how much noise there was without adding proper muting, all that kind of stuff. And again, I keep saying it, I'm going to keep saying it because I think it's so important. You wouldn't hear this stuff without distortion. So don't only practice clean, because I'm telling you what, you're going to get a guitar with distortion and you're not going to know what to do with it because you've never had to deal with all of the just the artifacts that are created from your hand sitting on the strings and all the distortion. So you can keep going with this. This pattern works all over the place. Alright, now the final one here is a really good exercise in what we've been doing this whole time. Imagine that, right? Basically, I'm outlining some chords. So I'm doing a very common chord progression, a very simple one. I'm just going E minor, and I'm going to G, and then I'm going to go to a D major, and then I'm actually going to a C sus2, which is just, I love the suspended chords or add nines and all that stuff. So the exercise is this, though. Alright, so let's break these down. Now, like I said, you can go as fast or slow as you want. It's very similar to the last one, but my picking is basically reversed. So it's a little more of a challenge because I've always favored the downstroke when I'm picking. So all these ups, all of a sudden, a little bit more challenging. My hand has to work a little bit more. So essentially, the first one here is a little E minor triad. Think of it like just like your bar chord, but I'm just doing the top 3. So I'm going to play 7 on the high E string, and then 8 on the B, and 9 on the G. So I go up, up, down with my picking, and again, lots of palm muting on here. Now I don't have to palm mute it. If you're not palm muting, you have to just be very aware of when to pick your fingers up. Your left and right hand have to be very in sync to control it. So otherwise you get this. Again, that was note bleed. You don't want that. Well, I mean, sometimes you want that, but in this instance, we don't want it. So. Okay, now I'm going to go to the G chord, and I'm going to go 8 on the B, to 7 on the G, to 9 on the D. Okay, now the next one's real easy. It's just barring your finger across these strings. Now there's two ways to do this. The way that I'm doing it is, again, because I'm not good at the rolling of my fingers, so I add a very heavy palm mute here to make up for my lack of left hand ability on this one. So I'm just playing 7 on the B, G, and the D. So now if you want to do it without all the palm muting on there, you have to rock your finger. Like that. I just add a heavier palm mute and that cleans it up. So I'm just kind of working with what I got. Okay, and then I go to this suspended second, which is basically 8 on the B, 7 on the G, and then 10 on the D. So we have, oh, maybe. Maybe even try doing the lower version of these chords. You know, you could do like a and then go to a D. Oh, sorry. You know, I didn't plan to show you that, but there's that one too if you want to try it. But I'm telling you, you gotta, if you wanna be able to play with distortion, you gotta practice with distortion. So there you guys have it. Hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Hopefully you got something out of it. Like I said, if any of you want to check out the guitar courses, I greatly appreciate it. Other than that, you know, there'll be an actual announcement video tomorrow. As always, I just appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully you learned something, get the tabs and all that stuff, and then I'll just see you tomorrow if you can. I have a live stream and all that good stuff. So see you guys tomorrow. Later, homies. Whoop! Let me lay down some rhythm here for you real quick. Try to play those chords I just showed you. I'll do a rhythm bass around them, and you just try to arpeggiate them and practice it. So here you guys go, and I'll see you next time.